Variables are like containers that help you in storing data like numbers and letters, whereas names are identifiers in Java that help in identifying the variables. Hi guys, welcome back to Perfect eLearning channel. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more technical content. In today's video, you will learn about one of the important Java topics, which is variables and types names. So let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome to the new lecture today, and today we are going to discuss basically the variables and types in Java. So in the last lecture we understood how to write hello world, right? So first we'll understand what are the variables, what are the various data types, various things we're going to understand, and then we're going to go hands-on coding in variables and types. Okay, so great. So the first question, that comes in our mind is actually, why do we need variables, right? What are variables? Why do we need them? So for example, I tell you to design a calculator app. Okay. So calculator, if I tell you, the first thing that comes in your mind when I talk about calculator is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? These things, these things, right? So there might be a case wherein you just don't have to calculate 2 plus 2 equal to 4 or 56 minus 54 equal to 2 or multiply or divide. I can give you any XYZ number and you need to add it. I can give you any XYZ number, you need to subtract it. I can give you any XYZ number, you need to multiply and divide and so on, right? So if we don't have variables, then our lives would be very much limited to a set of constants, which is 2, 3, 4, 56, 54, etc. So these are the constants, okay? But we need variables because these could be any numbers, right? So that's what is the need of the variables, okay? So I hope that's very much clear, right? Perfect. So moving on, what are variables? So variables basically help you, in storing the data. So for example, you want to store the data in the form of numbers, it could be letters, it could be anything, right? So for example, I tell you that there is a variable called x, okay? It has a value called 5. So here x is used to store a number, okay? X may be used to store J, A, B, could anything, right? Any letter. So variables help to store the data, okay? So basically a variable will be given a certain space in the memory and wherein the value of the variable will be stored, okay? So the data that this variable is carrying is known as the value. For example, in this case, this is the variable x. It's carrying the value of 5, right? So this is the data, this is the value, okay? And value can be changed. Once I've written x equal to 5, in the next line, I can write x equal to 10. So now the memory space is going to remain the same, but instead of 5, it's going to become 10. Okay. So as simple as that, to store the data. This is what is a variable. Perfect. So variables basically have two attributes. Okay. So if I talk about variable, so you define variable using two things. Number one, you give a name to the variable. Number two, you give a type to the variable. Okay. So we are going to understand what is a name and what is a type. Okay. So for example, in this case, variable x, the name is x. Okay. Now what is type? We'll understand that soon enough. Perfect. So first let's, go deep dive into what is name of variable. Okay. So name is known as identifiers in Java. Java identifiers. Okay. So it could be, what is identifier? Identifier is a very general term. It could be the name of a variable. It could be the name of a method, that is a function. It could be the name of the class also. We have already seen various classes in Java while making our first standard app. So identifier is just the name. Okay. So there are certain rules when you, define a name of a variable. You can define any name of your personal choice. Okay. But there are certain rules that you need to follow. So the identifier may contain letters, okay, which could be uppercase or lowercase both, okay. And then it can contain digits 0 to 9, any digits, okay? And it can contain the underscore character also, but no other special character, okay? I'll show you what it cannot contain. I hope first what it can contain is very much clear. And there is one thing you need to note, that the first character cannot be a digit. So my variable cannot be 9 Jyoti, no. 9 perfect e-learning, no. So it cannot start with a digit, okay? It can be perfect e-learning 9, but it cannot be 9 perfect e-learning, right? Okay. So what it cannot contain is a space, okay? And then a dot, an asterisk, or any other special character. For example, I've written here 5-10. This is wrong. I told you only underscore is allowed, hyphen, dash, these are not allowed in the name of the variable. Perfectelearning.com, so dot is not allowed. Okay, util dot star, no. So these are not valid identifiers. This my compiler is going to give an errors that these are not valid identifier. Okay, and one thing to note here is Java is case sensitive. What that means is if you write something JAVA in capitals and if you write something JAVA in small letters, they are two different words in Java. They will be considered as two different words. Okay, and if you say first letter J capital and the other smalls, then also they are different words. There are different identifiers. That clear? I hope Java identifiers are very much clear with everybody, and you're going to declare good names to the variable, because that is very much seen when you go into corporate and you write your own code. So then the second level is code review by the tech lead or the team lead. So wherein they're going to see what name you're giving to the identifier. So that should be understandable by humans as well. Okay, so make sure you give the correct name, understandable name. Okay, perfect. And one thing more in identifier is, keywords and reserved words. So what are keywords? So there are some words like, class, static, void. We have seen already while writing the Hello World program. So we have seen what is static, what is void. We have seen a class. So these are some special words. What are special words? These are reserved words, wherein the Java compiler already knows the meaning of these words. Okay. So they have some special predefined meaning already, right? Okay. So there will be many you would be learning throughout the course. And so what is the importance of the keywords is basically you cannot name your variable with these keywords. So your variable cannot be named as class. Your variable cannot be named as static, or it cannot be named as void. It cannot be named as public, right? Any other name you can give apart from keywords. Okay, that clear? Perfect. And one thing in identifier more is the naming convention. So when I talk about variable name as well as the method name, method is the functions that we define in the class, right? So we have already seen an on-click function that we defined while defining a button on the click of the button, right? So there is a certain naming convention that you need to follow. Okay, what is that convention? That they are going to begin with lowercase and they are punctuated using camel casing. What is camel casing? For example, like this, my name. So camel casing is, these are two words, they are combined together, but N is gonna come in capital. Is correct, C in capital. Process this, T in capital, but it starts with lowercase, right? So it doesn't mean that if you're going to start a variable with a capital letter, it's going to give an error. No, this is a convention that is usually followed and you need to follow, right? It's not going to give you an error for that. Okay, there are certain things which it doesn't give error, but this is a convention which a good programmer or a good developer does, right? And when you declare a class, it always begins with an uppercase, right? For example, string class, integer class, print string, we have seen these are all beginning with uppercase only, right? And the very important thing is, The name should be very meaningful, very descriptive. Okay, your variable name should have a meaning. Okay, always. So you should avoid declaring variables like A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. I mean, that's okay for practice purpose. That's perfectly fine. But when you go into the project and all, you need to define good variables, meaningful variables that have a certain meaning attached to it, so that when any other developer reads your code, he or she comes to know that, okay, this variable might be doing this, right? So this is what is about the naming convention. Okay, so next we're going to begin with the data types. I hope there are two attributes of a variable, that is name and type. I hope name is very much clear with everybody, and everyone is going to give good names to the variable now, right? So in the next class, we're going to begin with data types. There are various data types and they're very interesting. And then we will go hands-on. Okay. So I'm going to see you. Take care. Bye-bye.